everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to do something fun for watercolor weekends. One question I've been asked a lot, especially as I use watercolor pencils in my pages, is what size set of pencils do I need to get? Because I mean, take Albrecht Durer for example, they come in 12, 24, 36. I don't know if there's a 72. Don't quote me. But then they have the 120. You know, a lot of brands are like that. They have their small set and then they graduate up. Now, do you need the full set of any brand out there? Whether it be Albrecht Durer, Derwent, why is nothing coming in my head? Arteza, none of those. No, you don't. So I wanted to kind of show you today why that is. So I have picked out, now I do own the 120 Albrecht Durers. I have full set syndrome though. If I know there's another pencil out there, I must own it. So that's a whole other issue that we aren't going to discuss today. Has nothing to do with the fact of what I need versus what I want. So out of my set, I looked up online what 12 colors come in the 12 count set of Albrecht Durers. And in that set, I love how they've curated this because this is perfect. I do have one gripe, which I'll get to in a minute. They've given you a white, a cadmium yellow, a dark cadmium orange, a deep scarlet red, a magenta, light ultramarine, phthalo blue or halo blue, however you want to say it, emerald green, light green, a burnt ochre, a walnut brown, and black. Now, one thing I kind of wish they would have included is a gray. Not a big deal though. Just, you know, a little funsy. That makes gray, black and white. So, but they've curated their 12 count really well. They've given you 2 browns, 2 greens, 2 blues, a purplish pink. They've given you a red, orange, and yellow. Most importantly, they have given you the primary colors, which means that you can make multiple colors. Now, let's start. Oh, can I keep these in order and slide these off my desk? Probably not. Let's do it this way. I'm just using my Arteza watercolor paper pad, and the reason for that is I don't want to use my expensive paper because we're just going to be playing around. And I don't want to, well, I don't want to waste my nice paper for playing around. You save your white or your nice paper for, well, the nice projects. So first thing we're going to do, I'm going to swatch all 12 up here so you can see what the original color is. I have the handy dandy Caran d'Ache palette. It has a smooth, shiny side that is reflecting the sunlight as we speak, and then this rough side. It's like 12 bucks. Do you have to buy it? Absolutely not. Get one of those cutting boards that have like a rough side and a smooth side. I don't always use the smooth side. Smooth side I use more for gel crayons because if you use the rough side, then they just get all up in there. So I don't use it a ton, but the rough side I use a lot for mixing my watercolor pencils, and that's what we're going to use today because we are going to make some blends with these 12. Originally, I was like, hey, I could make a mixing chart, but a mixing chart with 12 colors is just pure insanity. We'll be here a long time if we played that game, because in theory, you can basically take the number of pencils you have, times it by that number, and that's potentially the number of colors you could make. So you could technically, you know, have what 144 colors, but it doesn't always work out that way. It's just kind of in theory. In reality, it's a teensy shorter, but that is an insane number already. I mean, you're going to be more than doubling, more than tripling, more than quadrupling your color potential. So I decided not to do a mixing chart because I just didn't want to sit here and mix that many colors. But I did want to show you the potential. that I felt was the most important thing. So first thing we're gonna do is get the colors down dry. Oops, we gotta run away. Doesn't have to be pretty. I was trying to like space them just by eyeballing, but I think I'm actually too close to one another. Now, when you're mixing watercolor pencils, do you have to use a palette? No. You could technically mix them straight on your paper, but the effect is not as pretty. So I use the palette to mix, plus I feel I'm more in control. And if I make a foobar with my color mix, it's not on my artwork. So rather critical component there. All right, so what we're gonna do is activate these so that you can actually see these colors alone and the array of colors you get. I am doing, because we're mixing, I'm going to use an actual brush and water cup. So instead of a water brush, just because of the mixing aspect, I need a lot of water. And I'm going to move my cup while you see my big arm in the way. Move my cup right there. Okay, so let's start with our white. The most exciting color I know to swatch. But one thing I love about Albrecht Durer's is just how these things, look at that. They dissolve, no lines. Other brands sometimes leave lines. Oops, I'm about to drop my brush. These just, look at that. They just melt and oh, luscious. Luscious, luscious. Not a lot of brands just melt away like that. I mean, look at that. Not a single line left behind. Arteza definitely does not do this on watercolor paper. Sorry, Arteza. Derwent watercolor dissolves okay, but again, nothing like this. Now, I did order the Museum Aquarelles, so get ready for a comparison, because that will be coming down the pipeline. All right, see, so we have a nice ochre brown, and then this one's going to be a nice dark, rich brown. I do have a little extra water on my brush. I'm not too concerned about it, though. And then our nice little black. Okay, so basically, here are the colors. Now, this red does look kind of pinkish, doesn't it? All right, so these are our colors. Now, traditionally, if you were going to make a mixing chart, you would do diagonal. So you would have, because basically the point of a mixing chart is each one of these colors would then be swatched this way and blended together. So my white and yellow would meet right here. Does that make sense? My orange and white will meet right here. Cadmium red and white would meet right here, so on and so on. But your initial color is going to meet up with itself. So when you're making a mixing chart, you can either start it at the top and let it graduate down, or you can just have that color in the center. So like I would have my yellow here next. As an example, I'm just going to put the yellow there. So here I would be mixing my, here I would be mixing my yellow and yellow. So it would just be, well, yellow. You see what I mean? But for sanity purpose, I'm not going to do a full mixing chart because, oh my gosh, every time I do a mixing chart on a camera, I mess it up. Like if I'm doing it by myself, watching TV, right every time, but the pressure. So we're just going to have some fun with our little palette and mix some colors. So let's take our white and our yellow. So the reason I like this palette is you can kind of control how much you're laying down, and then I just lay the yellow on top of it. Get some water on my brush, mix them together. Now I've got white, so this should have a more pastel tone like it does there. See? All right, so I'm going to get the rest of my colors laid down so that you're not watching each one individually. In fact, I'll line them up here. I know you can't see the white. I promise it's there. 2. See, that's purple, light blue, the other blue, darker green, light green, ochre, walnut, and black. Okay. Now we're going to just go on top. Try to put down as much pencil as you have of the other color. And this is why I like to do it on the palette. I feel more in control than trying to mix it on the page. That way, if the color comes out like mud, which some of these mixed together will make mud. But that's why I say, you know, if you're new to this, do make a mixing chart, because it's good for you to know what makes mud and what doesn't. You know, the black is very pigmented, so I'm going to be rather gentle there. Okay, let's mix our orange and our white. Let's put that down. Try not to have too much water while I'm doing this. Make sure you get a good mix before laying them down. See how we're already changing our colors up just by mixing with white right now? Ooh, this one's going to be really light. It's there, I promise. And just a tiny bit of pencil. You can always add more later. You don't want to go crazy though, because what you put down, these don't reactivate like traditional watercolors, so you don't want to waste your lead. Ooh, this green is going to have a very pretty little pastel thing. So this is also a way to make your own pastel watercolors. So this brown is going to take on a skin tone. Kind of a lightly, no, I'd say that's fairly Caucasian skin tone. Okay. Then you want to get this one and see how we've made our gray. Now that is all just from mixing white. So wipe them off. All right, let's mix our colors with yellow. I am not going to do all 12. I know I said that, and I'm doing some of them, so you're probably like, oh, is she really going to do it? No, she's not really going to do it. Okay, so now we're going to mix with yellow. We've already mixed white and yellow, so there's no point in doing that again. So I'm going to set this one off to the side. But I am going to, it always helps me if I keep them under the things I'm working on so I can make sure I create enough, because there have been times where I accidentally mess that up. So I got a teensy bit of green there. I'm going to try not to accidentally pull that in. Fun fact, these wash really well in the dishwasher, as long as you don't have a heat ring. If you got a heat ring, don't put it in there, please. Okay, so we'll mix our orange. Oops. Got a little too happy and was going to mix a whole bunch of different colors. Let's see how we've eliminated the white, because we've already mixed yellow and white. We know where that goes. Wait a minute. I've already lost my place. Okay, so this one, hang on. I'm just going to wet that and erase it. I skipped something, but I don't know what I skipped. So, and you guys know me, look, mud. You guys know me and how much I love to edit, so you're just gonna watch that little mess up and my head bumping my camera, because you know it wouldn't be my channel without it. All right, let's start that over again. That there, that there, that there, that there, that there. I was just testing you to make sure you guys are actually paying attention. That's what this was. Oh, I see why I messed that up. Ah. Okay. So we'll work this way. That'll keep me from confusing myself. we already have a very pretty pastel set of colors, if I must say so myself. I'm going to put that on the bottom. This is where I got messed up. I skipped my red, so magenta and I made a mess. And we don't need to mix yellow with yellow. You know, hate to break it to you, but it is still yellow. Okay, so now we're going to start here. So this is the orange and yellow. Look at that color. So we have already made 3, well, technically we've made 2 variations. Now this is the red, or the cadmium red and orange, I believe, yes. Or cadmium red and yellow, I'm sorry. Now this is going to make brown. Like I said, some of these are going to make brown, but the whole point is to teach you and show you how to mix. And then you can go mix happy and create colors. But look at that. Look how it is a completely new color by adding this and this. See that? So sometimes when you make these mixing charts, like the color is just completely something else. I mean, look at that. But I mean, blue and yellow make green, yes. but it's still always fascinating to see. And then like, look at this green. It's transformed into a very cool spring green. And then we're taking the light green and the yellow. So it's going to create what kind of like a, see, it's just a little lighter. All right, now we got our yellow and I believe it's brown ochre. Yeah, mixing charts can be really relaxing, but they're fun to just see how the color transforms. I mean, see, so how the brown just took that there. Okay, now let's mix up our brown, or our black, and our green. And look at that. It's created like a little olivey color. Isn't that nifty? I mean, this stuff just fascinates me. Hopefully it fascinates you. Otherwise, this is going to be a boring episode of Watercolor Weekends. Okay, let's do a fun one. Let's mix every... See, because like normally, as you can see here, see how the chart is getting to become a diagonal? That's what happens when you create these. So it'll just get shorter and shorter. And so basically what will happen is you'll come down and reach to a point. So you'll have a nice triangular shape. And then you can write at the top, you know, what's what. But look, already we have taken these, oops, that one was still wet, these 12 colors and added more. And this is why I said you won't actually get 12 times 12 because you eliminate in each row. So now we've made 11 new colors. Now we've made 10 more colors. See what I mean? It's a common misconception that people will say, oh, you just times the number. That's not necessarily true because each row eliminates something. Like if we go to make this row, we don't need to mix orange with white. We've already done that here. So this is eliminated. We don't need to mix orange with this yellow. We just did that down here. So this is now eliminated. Does that make sense? So now we would just be starting with a base of orange and then mixing all these colors. So what I want to do is confuse the crap out of myself by skipping rows, but I want to mix black and some other colors and just have some fun. So you guys kind of get the gist of how to make a mixing chart. You would just keep rolling down this way. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. But now I just kind of want to mix some colors on the palette. So this purple here, they gave us magenta. I'm going to add some black to magenta. Let's keep the original colors in frame. Mix that up and look at this beautiful dark purple. See that? So now we're just having fun mixing around because like I said, I'm not going to make a whole mixing chart. Let's take our light ultramarine. Let's mix it with our, let's add our magenta in there. You can mix as much or as little as you want. It doesn't have to be even. You just want to make sure you're keeping track. And just by adding that ultramarine, I've taken it from that pinkish to more of a purple. Okay. Now, let's do some double mixes. So, say I take my black and my white to make a gray. Okay. And then let's mix that, and then we're going to add it to one of these purples we've already made. So we've got like a lightish gray going on here, but now I'm going to add it to this purple. See how it takes on like a grayish purple tinge? Same thing. I can take some of that on my brush, mix it into this purple, which is right here. See how it just slightly changes it? Okay, now what if I wanted to lighten it up? Say I got to a shade I really like, but now I want it lighter. Well, I'm going to create some white, add it in there, add it in there, scoop, scoop. And now I've created kind of like a vintagey purple color. Okay. Now let's take our red. Ooh, and our magenta. I mean, you can seriously do this for days. You can make whatever you want. But so this is these two colors up here, magenta and the dark cadmium red. And look what we've made doing that. Now, say I'm like, ooh, I really like that color, but I want it lighter. I'm just going to mix some white, bring these together. Just always make sure your palette is clean, by the way. Nothing worse than a dirty palette screwing you up. And see, I've just created a nice light wash. It's not quite as pastel as this. It still has some vibrancy. So you guys kind of get the point now? Like, I mean, there's no limits. Now, I think we already mixed blue and a red, didn't we? I don't know if we did. Let's do that real quick. So let's take our halo blue and our, oh, it's deep scarlet red. I don't know why I kept calling it cadmium. Can't remember if we mixed these or not. If we did, well then sorry. I'm pretty sure we did because that color looks awfully familiar. No, we didn't. Okay. So we just created that. Now, what if I wanted it a little darker? Or maybe I want it a little lighter. So I'm going to start with the white first. Just kind of mix that on this side. There, lightened her up. Okay, but now I want to darken this one. So I've just made 3 colors by mixing 2 colors. Well, initially 2 colors and then adding more. Sorry, should be more specific. But let's work with some greens. Hopefully this is still wet enough to wipe off enough. It's totally going in the dishwasher after this episode. All right, let's play with some greens. So let's take our light green. Oh, it sounds awful, doesn't it? And our emerald green. Now I want to add a titch of blue to my light green. And I want to add a little black, not a lot, just a little black into my darker green. So we'll start with a lighter color first. So this is, again, emerald green, or no, sorry, light green here. Help if I could remember the color. Let's see how we've created that just by mixing those two colors. Now we're going to mix our emerald green with our black. Now if you're too afraid to just sit here and mix and make colors, like I'm making a nice pine green at the moment, then do the mixing chart. Finish the mixing chart. Yes, you're going to make some muddy-ish colors, and that's okay. That's the whole point. And then at the end of your mixing chart, you can cross out the combos that don't work, and then you'll know, like, okay, I need to do this. So look, I made this little pine green color. But say I am not feeling that pine green color. Maybe I want some yellow in it. Because you know what? I just can't make up my mind. Now we are going to make a really pretty olive-ish color. You can take a tiny bit of your brown as well. Get that a mix in. Oops, not enough water on my brush. And then brown is a favorite to create greens. Also, people like to mix in blues with their greens to create their colors. Really, whatever floats your boat. That's how I see it. I don't have like a dark blue to pull it off. Normally, you're using a very dark blue to mix into your greens, and that's not what I have here. But like if I were to take this one right now, am I even on camera? No. If I were to take this one right now and add it in there, I'd kind of get pretty close to where we had started, but just a slight tinge off. But again, I just already made a whole bunch of colors. So what have we learned today? Well, we have learned that I don't like to make mixing charts on camera. Instead, I actually enjoy to do these like while watching TV because they're watercolor pencils. So I could actually do this, you know, just sitting there watching TV and just mix away. And maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll make an Albrecht Durer mixing chart with just the 12 to show you. But no matter what, guys, we had 12 colors that we started with here. And just in a half hour, we've made 11, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36 colors out of 12. Now, had we made this mixing chart, we would have made way more than that. So that's kind of the point. No, you don't need 120 Albrecht Durers. In fact, these colors we're making here aren't even in the Albrecht Durers. So we just made our own very cool colors, including a whole line of pastels that we can't even get in the Albrecht Durers. So if you're like, I really want to do a bunch of pastel colors, all you need is this glorious little white pencil and any color, literally any color, and you can make your whole range of pastels because we have taken even very bold colors, black, brown, and look, pastel. I mean, I could go through my entire thing of 120 Albrecht Dürers and make 120, well, no, sorry, 119, because this is 120, 119 pastel colors. So the possibilities are endless. You are never limited to the count of watercolor pencils. And in the end, you actually have the opportunity to make cooler colors, more color ranges, and just more fun mixing them up yourself. I mean, this is not a color from Albrecht Durer. I can tell you that just by recognizing it, because I'm like, gosh darn, that pink is so gorgeous. All these purples are not in the Albrecht Durers either. We've just made them ourselves. So totally, grab a set of 12. They're incredibly affordable on Amazon. Make yourself a mixing chart and you will have, don't make me math it, but you'll definitely break 100. You'll have over 100 pencils or 100 colors to play around with, because that is what is so cool and exciting about this. Now see, like at the end of this chart, the last thing you would be mixing is what, the brown and the black. This is why I gotta go in order. If you ask me to skip, I'm like, I don't know where I left off. But yeah, bottom line is 12 pencils is not 12 pencils. Now, this doesn't apply to colored pencils. This is watercolor pencils. But this also applies to regular watercolors. Buy a tube set of 10, 5. I just bought some grams not too long ago, 5 tubes. And I'm not worried at all about those 5 little tubes, guys. 5 tubes is a ton of colors that I can make because they gave me the primaries and all that. If for some reason you buy a smaller watercolor pencil set and they don't have white or black, then just pick those up open stock if that company sells them open stock. If they don't, just pick them up from another brand. So say you got a small set of, I think the smallest the Arteza come in is 24. I'm not entirely sure on that because I have 120. I have full set syndrome. We already went over this a half hour ago. But say, you know, your set doesn't come with it. You can actually mix Albrecht Durer with Arteza. You can mix Albrecht Durer with Derwent. I have done that. I had to because I was like, oh, I'm missing this color in my Derwent because I have 36. So I just whipped up a few other colors, or I've supplemented with colors. Bottom line is you don't have to go buy 120 Albrecht Durers and 120 Arteza Experts and 72 Derwent watercolors and 76 Museum aquarelles. You don't have to actually buy them all unless you got the problem that I've got, and then you have to, or you want to, but you don't need to. So save your money, guys. Buy the 12, have some fun, and also you will be a better watercolorist, colorist, and artist if you actually learn how to play, mix, and create your own colors better than having to reach for a pre-made color. You'll understand color theory. You will know what blends together. You'll know what colors you can make. You'll know that if you mix these 2 colors and then later come back with a black, what you're gonna get. And if you don't remember, because I forget all the time, you'll have a mixing chart. So you'll be like, oh yeah, that's what it makes. So you see what I mean? There's just so much potential, and this will actually help make you a better artist in the long run than buying the pre-made colors. And gosh darn it, now I kind of want to go through and make all my Albrecht Durers pastel. Ooh. Let me know if you would like to see a video on one of these Watercolor Wednesdays of me taking Arteza Expert or my Albrecht Durers or any watercolor brand and creating a whole set of pastels from them. I'll gladly do it. It's fun. So let me know in the comments below. But also let me know what your favorite 12 count set is. If you've bought a 12 count set, I'd love to hear about it. And yeah, I'll put these in the link, or sorry, I will link these in the description below if you are interested. These are super affordable, best way to get your feet wet, no pun intended. And you can learn and have fun mixing and create so many cool things. I mean, this bottom row here is gorgeous. Look at all those greens. So yeah, it is a lot of fun, and you can do it with any brand. I do like the Albrecht Dürers just because, like I said, look at how these bad boys dissolve. It's unreal. So just always keep that in mind as well. But thank you guys for joining me for a watercolor weekend, and I will catch you on the next one.